You know, brothers, I think it's time for a heart to heart. I really do. I know that a lot of you feel attacked on all sides. Sometimes, maybe even by guys like me who come against the red pill and come against a lot of the women content. But let me explain something to you. I know that many of you may not have grown up with the proper male influences in your life or a father in your life, and you've been had all kinds of issues maybe with your mother, your grandmother, girls coming up or women now that you're an adult. I know you've seen all the different movies and television shows and podcasts. And it just seems like everywhere you turn, everybody, oh, the black man ain't this, the black man, for majority of your life, you may have felt unwanted, unworthy, rejected, the scapegoat, blame for this, blame for that, not good enough here, not good enough there. I understand that. You know, I understand that you grew up and your dad wasn't maybe around or involved, and your mom was maybe mean and nasty because for whatever reason she had going on, so you had that going on. Then you go to school and you try to talk to the girls, they ill, and in school girls can be vicious when they rejecting you. It wasn't just like, oh no, thank you, it was ill, girl. So you might have dealt with that, and then you become an adult, and now they talking about you got to have six figures and be 6 feet tall, and you're broke and you're dusty and you don't build, and you all. Then you listen to the politics and then the racists, and they're all black men are stupid and they don't build and they don't take care of their kids and they criminals and they always going to jail. And for the majority of your life, all you heard is how you're not good enough. All you hear is how you don't have this, you don't have that, you can't do this, you can't do that. You don't got enough game, you don't got enough swag, you're not tall enough, you're not cool enough, you're not smart enough. I understand that. And I relate to some of that to an extent. Like, I didn't grow up with a father either. Now, I don't have necessarily the burden that comes with that, because the reason I didn't grow up with one is because mine died when I was very young. Like before I even got third grade. Dropped down and died. Then by the time I got to fifth grade, mom got breast cancer, she died too. So I grew up without parents at all. Seriously. From 10 years old, by the time I was 10 years old, I had no parents and no grandparents. It was a wrap, right? So I understand that, but it's a different burden, because it's not like some of you, your parents were alive and they just were bad parents, or they were just uninvolved. That's a different kind of burden. I understand that. But I said it before, I'll say it again. Hey, when I was in school, the light-skinned girl with the curly hair, she ain't like me either. Come on now, the cute girl with the long, flowy hair, the white on white Reeboks and the ruffles. She ain't like me either. So and listen, I couldn't make the varsity basketball team either. So we in the same boat. But what I'm saying, but the reason I bring all this up is because a lot of us, in response to all the years and all the pain and all the suffering and all the loss and all of that, our response is lashing out. So that's where a lot of this woman content comes from, because, okay, I'm gonna tell you about yourself, and I'm gonna do. But let me tell you, let me help you out for a second, brothers. Honestly, lashing out is really not going to help you. It's going to help a handful of content creators, but outside of that, it ain't going to help you. Telling everybody else about themselves is not going to help you. Fighting feminists is not going to help you. The only thing that will help you is you, and I've said this so many times, it may seem simplistic, but it is what it is. The only thing that's going to help you, you have to figure out and develop your own personal belief system about what is right, what is wrong, Obviously, I'm gonna suggest the Bible, but some of you may not be there. Okay, cool. But you need to figure out your own personal belief system that you are going to live by. That's separate from women and women's opinions and white races and politics. No. You need your own belief system. You need your own values, your own ideas. That's what you need. That's what you need. Right? And then you need to, independently of what everybody else is doing, what everybody else thinks is cool, what everybody else thinks is right, you need to figure out what it is that you want out of life. What does success look like for you? Separate from what society says, what women say, what any of that. Once you have your own moral compass, and once you have your own personal goals, then you need to start accomplishing those goals. Because that's where self-esteem comes from. That's where self-worth comes from. That's where confidence comes from. I have goals for myself, and I can see me reaching those goals. And I can see me making progress in my own personal life. That's where it comes from. That's where your love for yourself comes from. I have these morals, values, principles, beliefs, and views, and I'm judging myself based on that, and I can see myself constantly growing in those areas. I'm becoming a better person. I love who I'm becoming. I love myself. I had these goals, aspirations, and dreams for myself in my life. As time goes on, I'm checking things off the list. I'm becoming more accomplished. I have love for myself, and that's displayed in the outcomes I'm producing for myself and the standards that I hold for myself. So what I believe in and what I'm working towards causes me to have a love for myself. That love, combined with those accomplishments, gives you a confidence in yourself. So I'm confident in who I am as a man because I'm setting these goals out and I'm accomplishing them. I'm setting these standards and I'm living by them. That's how that's done. I promise you. And we have, 10 years of YouTube history as proof. Telling women they're worth $5, that ain't going to help you. That ain't going to do nothing for you. I mean, you may feel good in the moment. Telling a woman she's average at best, that ain't going to do nothing for you. If you don't believe me, go on Kevin Samuel's channel right now. Rest in peace to that man. But this man has been gone for a while now. And when they re-upload videos that guys have already watched, you got a few thousand guys in the chat, live chatting a video they've already seen on a Friday night. Why? Because telling the woman about herself, oh, you're not the most educated, you're the most enrolled, that don't help you. It's not going to help you. Because guys always think, oh, you don't want us to talk about women. Listen, I don't really care if you talk about women, honestly. Like, it don't hurt my feelings. The reason I tell you not to do it is because it doesn't help you. All talking about women leads to is more talking about women. Look at the history of black men who make content talking about women. It's not like they talk about women being worth $5 and that leads to them being a millionaire. Don't happen. It's not like they talk about women not being the most educated, they're the most enrolled, and that leads to him getting a doctorate. Don't work like that. All talking about women does for you is lead you to talk about women some more. and listen to other men talk about women. And and here's the crazy part. You know what talking about women leads to? It leads to you ingesting even more bad opinions from women. That's what it leads to. It leads to you intentionally injecting more poison into your psyche. Because part of the issue is abandonment and rejection and not feeling worthy and not feeling wanted and being talked bad about. And that's what led you to these spaces and these conversations. But once you get here, guess what happens? You start intentionally ingesting poison. Because now you start looking out for this woman said this, and that woman said that, and that woman said that. So think about it. Your issue was always feeling attacked and belittled and less than and blamed for this and blamed for that. And your response to that was, let me find these people saying these things about me under every rock. Let me find more of it. Because I got to respond to it. I got to knock it down. And so you are ingesting more of this stuff. Now, let's be honest, fellas. I want you to be honest with me for a second. Let's be real for 1 minute. Once again, I understand. A lot of you felt angry, upset, hurt, rejected, taking the blame because of what happened in your personal life and what you saw on social media and all these different kinds of places, right? But let me ask you this. Since you came to spaces like this, since you joined the quote-unquote gender war and the battle of ideas, since you've been here, if you really think about it, you've consumed more negative thoughts and opinions about black men, not less. Prior to you joining these online spaces, yeah, you heard some stuff, obviously. That's what led you here. But once you got here, the amount of negative thoughts and opinions that you've heard about black men and yourself is skyrocketed. I just want to ask you a question. Why would you go somewhere to hear more negativity about yourself? Why would you do that? I want you to really think about that. Why would you do that? You already felt invisible, overlooked, disrespected, scapegoated. Why would you go somewhere where the things that make you feel that way are amplified? There's even more of that. Why? Does that make sense? Listen, brothers, what you need to do, you have to retreat. When I say retreat, you need to leave the conversation. You need to lay down your sword and leave the battlefield. Because what you don't understand is there's always going to be feminists. There's always going to be women who don't respect men. There's always going to be women who don't want to be married, don't want to submit. There's always going to be women who think they're better than men. There's always going to be white people who think they're better than black people. There's always going to be, unfortunately, men who abandon their sons. All those kinds of things. That's never going to go away, ever. And so, and you talking about it on the internet is not going to stop it or slow it down. It is not. If you don't, my bad. I want you to think about this for a second. Seriously. Since guys have quote unquote started black male media and fighting down the narratives against black men, has there been more anti-black male channels or have they went down? Have women with a feminist point of view gained more notoriety, more views? Are there more channels? Are there more anti-black male female voices or less? What you're actually doing is feeding the problem. To the point now, there is a market. Like, what you have to understand is everything you're doing is having the direct opposite of result that you're looking for. And quite frankly, it doesn't make sense to constantly inundate yourself with the negative opinions about yourself from everybody else. It don't make sense to do that. I said it before, I'll say it again. Think about some of the biggest names, some of the guys with the longest standing in these spaces, quote unquote, fighting the good fight and putting the woman in her place and checking feminism and all that kind of stuff. And outside of the infamy they have from the type of content they make, what outcome do they have that you would want? Did they ever get any kind of woman of substance, regardless of race? Did they ever get did they ever get to become the patriarch of a family? Did it ever happen with any woman of any race? Did they ever ride off into the sunset and prove that as a black man, I'm this and I'm that? Did it ever happen? Or are they still making content about the women? That's all I've asked you this several times. Like, really think about it. You think about the Tommies, the Obsidians, the Minister Japs, guys that have been doing this for a long time. Other than more followers and a bunch of different channels deleted and deleted and coming back and popping up and popping back, and maybe some viral interactions and some cash apps from some other lonely, upset guys. What did it ever produce? What think about it. The issue from the beginning was you felt as though you were being scapegoated and disrespected and overlooked and blamed for this and blamed for that and overlooked and talked down about and talked down to and mistreated. Did any of those guys ever actually solve that problem? No. Why? Because this is not the way to go about it for you. It's not going to work for you. It's not about the women and protecting the women. Doing this does not work for you. Highlighting how they're the most educated, they're not the most educated, the most enrolled, that ain't going to do nothing for you. Talking about how they worth $5, that does nothing for you. Talking about I'm not going to be the cleanup man and that's all right, they about to take welfare from you. We're going to see what you're going to do now. That ain't going to do nothing for you. Truthfully, this is the crazy part. Sitting online talking about women ruins your life. I'm going to say that again. Sitting online constantly talking about women, having a war of words with women, having a debate about feminism and family structure online with women ruins your life. Because what happens is your whole life becomes about consuming and responding to negative thoughts and opinions about you and black men. And so you are constantly consumed with people's negative opinions about you. And you spend all your time debating and responding to people's negative opinions about you. And you can't live your life and accomplish your goals and reach higher heights and deeper depths because you're spending too much time listening to their argument and responding with your argument. And before you know it, you see the whole world through through the lens of the very women that you're responding to. Because you see feminism at every turn. Listen, I understand how you feel. All I'm telling you is the way you're going about it, it's been proven not to work.